Hello and welcome to the program. I am Deji Badimasi. The ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, appears to be getting closer to resolving its internal crisis, which took different turns following the suspension of Adams Oshiomhole as the chairman of the party. With the backing of President Muhammadu Buhari and some other members of the party, Chief Victor Giadom was endorsed as the authentic acting national chairman of the APC, leading to the National Executive Council meeting, which took place at the presidential villa. But by the time the meeting ended, both Chief Giadom and the faction of the party loyal to the suspended chairman of the party, Adams Oshiomhole, had actually been blown away. Among others, President Buhari announced the dissolution of the National Working Committee of the party and set up a new caretaker extraordinary convention committee. The NEC of the party also ratified the Edo State governorship primary of the party, now conducted by the dissolved NWC. So Osagie Ize-Iyamu still remains the candidate of the party for the state governorship election. Let's take a listen now to more of what the president said during the NEC meeting.
It's obvious that the fortunes of the party are currently in jeopardy. Administration of our party is becoming impossible, and there is consequently an urgent need for intervention to immediately arrest further drifts and internal wranglings, which may lead to total disintegration. What we see clearly emerging is that we are beginning to self-destruct. This, my dear party members, is not just regrettable, but utterly gut-wrenching. In order to effectively resolve all disputes currently plaguing the party, I am recommending that this meeting should carefully consider and pass resolutions on how to effectively deal with the current issues confronting the party. Accordingly, this meeting may adopt the developed resolutions as contained in the agenda and pass resolutions including A. Approving the immediate discontinuation of all pending litigations involving the party and its members. B. Ratifying the primary election conducted in Edo State. C. Dissolving the current National Working Committee. And D. Appointing caretaker extraordinary convention planning committee for the party. I believe that the issues facing us at the moment are very serious, and as such requires that we take very firm and clear decisions that will be in the interests of the party.
Well, Yobe State Governor Maimala Boni has now been appointed the chairman of that caretaker extraordinary convention committee. Maimala Boni, of course, as you know, used to be the secretary of the party before he left to contest the governorship of Yobe State, and of course he won. Now, the committee is expected to run the affairs of the party for the next 6 months, at the end of which a convention will be called to elect a new leadership for the party. So it now remains to be seen if this will really bring some kind of stability to the ruling party. Joining me now to discuss this is Monday Ubani, who is a lawyer and the former vice president of the Nigeria Bar Association. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Now, how would you describe this resolution? Some people have said it's basically a case of no victor, no vanquished for the two sides now in the party.
Well, I would say that it's very, very strategic. This morning, I think I was speaking on a particular channel, and I said that, look, the best thing for the political party to do is not to flex muscles, but to try as much as possible to try to take a more practical step, that can actually bring a practical solution to this problem, because APC found itself in a very big quagmire. You have a Monday within which you submit the name of the candidate for the election in September, and that is 29th, 6 p.m. And are you going to hold another primary election? So who is even going to be the signatory, to the particular letter that we're written to INEC? These are critical issues, because if the wrong person signs that letter that will be taken to INEC, it will put APC gubernatorial candidate into a jeopardy. So the issue of taking a more practical step that will find a solution that will be acceptable and agreeable even to the laws of the land was something that was recommended to them. And I think that the president, even though belatedly, I think this practical step he has taken will bring some level of legality to some of the things that will be done between now and Monday. As to whether the problems would have ended or whether they will shed their salt, the other party that felt that the NEC meeting was illegal is for us to see, where, from the days ahead, whether they will take some practical steps to go back to the court.
Whether the other side takes any step or not, do you think, in all honesty, with the kind of egos we have in the party, because this is exactly the same thing we saw with the PDP. So there's essentially no difference between the APC and the PDP, especially when it comes to running the political party. You think this will bring an end to the crisis, or this might just be the beginning of something bigger to come?
To some people, this may probably snowball into a bigger crisis, depending on how the other faction or the other side will take the decision of the president in what he has done today. If they find it to be something pliable, something that has actually been in their own interest, they may want to share their salt. But if they see it, a bigger picture that is about 2023 that is playing out, and they may have lost out, with what has happened today, they may want to go back to the trenches, and that may not, create any level of peace for APC. This may actually be the beginning of, bigger crisis. But if the president, is purely respected, is clearly respected by the political party and members, and they believe that what he has done is purely something that is done in the interest of the political party and for the nation, they may want to share their sword and want to go along with the president and then allow peace to reign. But I tell you this, there may be some irregularities here and there. It's only those people who are members of the political party that can challenge those irregularities. If they look at it as, okay, let's move ahead, let's forge ahead and allow peace to reign, these things can be forgotten, and then laws will not come in. But the moment they want to go back to the trenches in order to fault what the president has done, of course, we find some certain things that may have not been done properly. When people are talking about the notice, the shortness of the notice for the NEC meeting and all that. But I tell you, if they go back, they will find something to actually hold on. That, again, will exacerbate the crisis.
And then what's your take? Because, the president at some point, when I was listening to him, at some point he was even sounding like a military leader, so to speak, saying that, look, people just have to, that the members have to accept this, and that there will be dire consequence for anyone who chose to go to court and all of that.
Yeah, because actually every constitution of a political party has this internal mechanism for resolution of disputes. But most times they don't exhaust those mechanisms. They rush to court virtually on everything, and sometimes throwing the political party into total confusion. But I think that there must be adequate machinery that has been put in place by every political party to resolve internal disputes before you begin to rush to court. So I think that sometimes it requires some level of autocracy, in order to run Nigeria as a whole, and also to run a political party of such a nature that is clearly in power, where there are divergent views and, of course, personal, so many interests, diverse interests, all playing out. So it requires such language to really say, look, gentlemen, let's move this country forward. Let's move our political party forward. Can we shed our sword? Can we, really allow peace to reign? Because it's becoming embarrassing for members of APC, the way APC is actually, playing this politics. What is it that they are doing that PDP did not do? There is so much impunity in the system. There's so much, reign of, crisis. There is no single day you don't have, court case, emanating from one faction or the other. So APC has not actually shown good example as a party that has an agenda of change. That is the reality.
I can't doubt you, because, at some point you look at what the APC is doing, you just see the PDP. Basically, it's like the APC copied from the playbook of the PDP. So in essence, it's very difficult to say that there's any difference at all between both political parties. And that's quite unfortunate, because at the root of it all is individual interest, don't you think? Because some people tend to think this whole crisis was basically a crisis between the former chairman now, Adams Oshiomhole, and the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki. But the truth is that it goes beyond that. It's something bigger than that.
Yeah, if you have a political eye, you will know that even though that Obaseki and Oshiomhole seems to be the culprit here, I mean the people that are really worrying, there are further, bigger interests, bigger and higher interest that is clearly at play. But it would have been also, endurable if Oshiomhole has played, a role that one would have considered a bit, honorable. In terms of, look, you were there for 8 solid years, and you were given that opportunity and support by Obaseki and co, and you made success of your regime, so to speak. Now you have allowed this young man now to be the governor. Why don't you allow him to run the government the way he feels like? Without any undue interference, especially when openly you said, look, we have ended the issue of godfatherism in Edo State. But you keep on interfering in the running of affairs of what was going on and then you allowed your personal ego, even when it was obvious that the other governors of APC were saying, allow this man to complete his tenure of 8 years and all that. You said, no way. And look at what has happened today. All that crisis, all that greed, all that impunity has actually blown him away. He's no longer the chairman of APC today. And it'd be very difficult for me to think that even after within the 6 months interregnum, that he may likely come back as the chairman of APC. He has lost out completely due to issue of ego and all that. And that is not the way for any man to end his career. Politically, it wasn't a good thing. It wasn't a good ending for him. How I wish that he had listened to some level of advice and allowed that young man probably to complete his extra 4 years. That was he was entitled to, just as he completed his 8 years. But look at where his impunity and the way of doing things have actually ended him.
All right.
Being blown away as a chairman.
All right, let's just take a quick break now, and we'll be right back to look at, the future of the APC with what has happened now. Stay with us. Don't go away. Welcome back, and if you've just joined us, you're watching Analysis, and today we're looking at the crisis in the APC. I have Monday Ubani, who is a lawyer and, of course, a former vice president of the Nigeria Bar Association. Let me ask you this. Look, no matter what we say, the truth is that Oshiomhole did a lot for the party as well, especially in terms of the party chairman now taking control of affairs of the party, something you hardly see. We never saw that with the PDP, and, until Oshiomhole came, we never saw that in the APC as well. But now you have, bottom line is that you have the governors in control of the party now, whether we like it or not. The governors are now fully in charge. Now,
that's right.
How dangerous do you think that will be?
I think also it's more dangerous to allow a political party to be run by governors also who have very various interests, personal interests, especially as we begin to coast towards 2023. Now, Oshiomhole started off very fine. If you ask me, he was totally in control of APC and was doing so well. But along the line, just like every other person that is human and an activist for that matter, some level of autocracy, came into his style of administration and leadership. And even when he was being advised, he doesn't say anything wrong, in certain things he was doing. And also, falling out with a lot of members within the National Working Committee. He needed to carry everyone along. And most of the organs of government were not functional. The NEC were not holding their meetings the supposed time. Even the National Working Committee members were complaining that meetings are not regular. So it was like a decision of one man running the affair of a political party that is actually in government. And so it made a lot of people to be sad, and it made a lot of people to be disgruntled. And of course, that culminated into what has led to all this crisis now leading to his exit. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not better also to leave APC in the hands of the governors with contending needs, even as we walk towards 2023. there are many contending factors that will be at play.
Many.
And governors are even worse when it comes to issue of impunity, issue of arrogance, use of power, issue when it comes to abuse. You know, they want to excel their power. You see what they're doing with local government funds. You see what they're doing with security votes. You see what they're doing with even contracts and all that. Whenever they handle anything, they want to maximally.
And now the reason I'm asking you this is that we saw how the PDP became the worst off when the governors too got involved. The PDP was basically decimated by the governors. And now we're having this. I mean, think back to when McCarthy came, Sharif also came, a former governor. So when the governors got in there, things got worse. So how do you think things would be different? And then you have a governor now running a party and running his state at the same time, Yobe State.
That's right.
And Yobe State is a very troubled state. He's a governor who's supposed to be very, very busy with the insurgency in his state. Now he has to run a party that is not in the best of shape and then run his state too that is also not in the best of shape.
Very, very troubling. That decision itself, is questionable. I mean, for a governor that is on a full time to run a state, now combining that job with that of running a political party that is actually in power, it is very troubling. I was also worried, even though maybe the reason why they made him the acting chairman is that he has been a party person. He was a former secretary. He knows the inner workings of the political party, so he may bring to bear his experience and knowledge in order to effectively pilot the affairs of the political party. But the point is that this is elected governor who has been elected to do a particular job for a state, and you're now dividing his responsibility in running a political party. So I don't see how you are giving him 6 months within which to accomplish all that. So the state actually will suffer. But as you rightly pointed out, when a political party is in the hands of governors, they have taken over control of a political party, that may be a danger. I remember when Obasanjo was actually the leader, the national leader of the PDP. At least you can see his intervention and what he did. At least from one man, he did a lot in terms of influence and power. And
then we cannot discountenance. And the problem here is that you have a president at the moment who is not like Obasanjo, who chooses, he has this laissez-faire style when it comes to running the party. And it's part of the reasons why things actually degenerated to the level that degenerated to. And then if that president now allows the governor to take absolute control and run things, and these governors, as we know, have their divergent interest, then the party is in for another big one.
Yeah, we all see that. And we need to say it the way it is. As Riley pointed out, if President Buhari had intervened earlier, even when this crisis, we are trying to rear his ugly head, I don't think he would have generated to the level where he did until this rescue mission that was actually, carried out today. We must have a president that is up and doing in running not only the government, but also his political party, because this is a platform under which he came into power. It would be very wrong for you now to allow that political party that brought it into power to turn into shreds, and then you leave it into tatters. Or even though people have predicted that what has kept APC today is just Buhari. The moment Buhari is out of the entire equation for 2023,
somehow I think I'm beginning to believe that somehow with what we have seen.
Guns and knives in order to chase themselves, and that war may likely start very soon in the light of what has actually played out today. From between now and next year, if APC still holds together, still stays together, then it will be one of the 9th or 10th wonders of the world, if they stay together with what is actually playing out. With what has been done today, if they can share their sword and come together and try to manage this crisis in such a manner to remain united, and then prepare for 2023, good and beautiful. But if they go back to their trenches with all the diverse interest that has been shown by all the contending factors, forces, we can see a more dangerous political party, and then probably it will be to the advantage of other political parties like PDP and some others.
Now, something I want you to speak on here, that it's something that I have seen this past couple of weeks, and I don't know if it's something that you have noticed as well. Bottom line is, the politicians actually don't really care about the people. It's basically about their interests. Let's face it, look at some of the governors. For the past several months now that this issue has lasted, You have governors who don't spend time at all in their state. They're always in Abuja. As a matter of fact, even during this COVID-19, they are always in Abuja trying to run politics, trying to run, just basically showing too much interest in the party affairs. And then thinking of 2023, governance in some states have actually taken a flight. So for most of these politicians, it will appear they actually don't have the interest of the people at heart. It's basically about their own interest and anything they would do to make sure their interest is realized.
I'm really surprised you're asking this question. What have we been saying all along about issue of leadership and the elites, especially the politicians who run Nigeria? It's not about the interest of the people, which is actually the primary responsibility of people coming into governance. It's about themselves. And that's what they tell you, that is no permanent, enemy. There's no permanent friend. What is permanent is interest. I mean, will you ever believe that Obaseki will leave APC and go to PDP?
Just imagine, it's difficult to understand. And then Yamu is in APC.
And come over to APC. Remember that PDP was criticizing Obaseki as one of the worst governors to govern Edo State.
Exactly.
Today is their candidate as they're presenting for election in 2020. So what are we talking about? So it's not about people. It's about their interest. And it's not about ideology. It's about themselves. The moment their interest is in trouble, they can use the people to accomplish that. And immediately they get to where they want, the people are forgotten. So I'm not saying...
And it's unfortunate that the people are not getting it.
They have interest.
It's unfortunate that the people are not getting it.
Say it again.
I said, and it's unfortunate that the people are not getting it.
No, the people are not. And that's why we must intensify this issue of what we call political education. Serious advocacy. Teaching and enlightenment. Must go on television, on social media. To tell the people, look, our destinies are in our hand. Whatever we desire from our leaders, we can get it done when all of us come together to say this is what we want in terms of leadership. And the moment you don't meet that requirement, that minimum requirement, they will have no reason to return you. But the people themselves will begin to fight, among themselves. And leaving the political elite who are less than 10%, who are holding also state. So the day Nigerians wake up and their eyes are cleared, and Bible says you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. The moment they get to know the truth that it is the elite that are holding us hostage, and we need to come together in order to tell the elite what we want, that day Nigeria will be free. And that day will be the day all of us are looking forward to, my brother Deji.
Mr. Monday Obani, thank you very much for joining us on the program, and thank you very much for your time.
Always my pleasure.
Well, that's it on the program. But if you want to watch it again, just watch. You can see this program, of course, and a lot more on our various social media platforms, of course. And always join us on TV360 for more. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.